And we've got spirit. Yes, we do. Happy Wednesday to you too. That's stupid, but what's not stupid, thanks for being here. We're talking about spirits and spirits, but before we do, I'm glad you're here. Happy Wednesday. My brother John, my little brother, he and Kayla are hanging out with me tonight. It's a big deal because John's like super chill and he's like, oh man, I haven't seen you. Sounds like I'm mocking him. No, he's like, oh yeah, we do need to hang out. It's been like 12 years. I'm excited. Maybe we'll get to hang out, hopefully, if this event doesn't go too long. But I'm glad you're hanging out with me. We're talking about spirits and spirits. Like, these are hauntings, like hauntings at the brewery or winery. We're talking about those. Anyway, lots happening. Number 12 still at radio. The reason why that's such a big deal, there's no bump and there's no up. It was Grammy week last week. And in Grammy week, you have all the hype of all the artists that won, the bands that won, and no one budged. I didn't anyway, and that's good. Holding tight, everybody. Holding tight. Let me know in the comments below your favorite winner. Not below, beside, wherever it is. Let me know. And by the way, I've got the camera. I'm not seeing comments, so I noticed that you all aren't commenting as much. Right? It's fine. I mean, I'm not mad about it, but I'm grateful that you're watching, and I do read them afterwards for sure, and I'll go back and respond to them. But we're getting better at, like, we're going to figure out, I was talking about the moderating thing. Nonetheless, we'll figure it out. But who did you like that they won? I like that Taylor Swift announced her new album. And there's so many connections, which if you're not a T-Swift fan, that's fine. We talk about it all the time. That's fine. Okay. Margim Manor Winery Hauntings. Margim, I think is how we say it. Margim Manor in New York. Now a winery and bed and breakfast. Have you ever had a bed and breakfast? Been at one? They're quaint, but they always have some sort of ghost story. Always. It's renowned for paranormal activities. Reports include malfunctioning electrical equipment. That happens. Objects moving spontaneously. Definitely. And sightings of ghostly figures, including the original owner, Merritt, and his family. And even a ghostly dog. That would be something. Do you remember in a previous short I was talking about the guy, well, maybe it hasn't come out yet, but the person who realized that, hey, if you freeze or put something food-wise on cold, in this instance it was snowing outside, it was like 1571, then it preserves it. But the dude died of pneumonia. He had went and got a chicken. The chicken, they say that the chicken still haunts the area. I mean, I could understand and believe that a dog would before a chicken. But nonetheless, could you imagine over here just chilling at your bed and breakfast, grabbing some wine, and next thing you know in New York, you see some ghostly dogs running around? No, thank you. No, thank you. Are you a dog person? Let me know. Have you been to New York? Have you been to this Margin Manor Winery? I've been to Arrington Winery. There's San Luis Obispo and California. They have wineries everywhere. So maybe if you're in some, let me know if you've been to a winery. What about Jura? So there are Jura coffee makers, and anytime I press the coffee, it grinds the bean, and then it presses it, and it's a delicious brew. And I'm always like, Jura brew coffee for you, and it's Jura Whiskey Distillery. Jura Islands Distillery has a haunting tale where a prohibition politician, Laird Archibald Campbell, was visited by a ghost demanding the brewing of alcohol. The spirit of an old schoolteacher named Elizabeth is also said to roam the distillery grounds. Did you remember the video where I was talking about the guy who was super rich in Canada? In Toronto, he said whoever has the most babies in 10 years after my death gets the remaining of my wealth. But one of the things he did was he gifted all the Protestant ministers in the town his brewery. He said, you all equally own it. He was a jokester. Could you imagine Laird Archibald Campbell being visited by a ghost demanding to have alcohol brewed? That's wild. The prohibition politician. I mean, maybe it's possible. I don't know. I couldn't imagine the prohibition, like the mafia killing everybody. You know, you're running alcohol. You got moonshine in the mountains. People are just dying to get drunk. And the ones that do get drunk are the ones that are, didn't they use something like furniture or something? Like people were getting poisoned all the time. I mean, there's a documentary of the New York Medical Examiner that in the 1900s that was dealing with like arsenic and, what's the mercury that makes like the watches light up? The ladies that would paint the numbers and the hands, they would lick the tip of the brush to get the mercury to have a nice point to be able to paint, and their jaws were rotting off. It's true. Check it out. But anyway, Elizabeth is roaming the distillery grounds, a school teacher. At least these people who were there having and enjoying spirits are educated. Spirits and spirits. Let me know in the comments below. Have you been to Jura Island Distillery? Where's Jura Island? Why don't I know where that is? Let me know. Where is it? Wynkoop Brewery. Apparitions located in Denver. Wynkoop Brewery is said to be haunted by various spirits, including a lady dressed in red and mysterious hands that squeeze legs in the men's bathroom. What? Paranormal tours are even hosted for the public. Ladies, you wouldn't necessarily understand. I mean, you're in a stall, and there's doors. There's this element of privacy, which, yes, if you had a hand go under and grab a leg, I would freak out too. But gents who stand at a urinal, like a horse trough, and you're just chilling, and you may or may not have a partition between you two, just this little thing. Could you imagine a hand? It's like, what? Don't ever walk. My son one time at a basketball game, I was at the urinal, and he snuck in and said, like, and patted me on the back, never touch a man at a urinal. Back. Could imagine a strange, what'd they call it? I don't remember. My hand, Mysterious Hands. That's my stage name. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mysterious Hands. No. Wouldn't work, would it? Mm-mm. Have you been to this Wynkoop Brewery in Denver? Let me know. Been to Denver? Balmore Distillery's Headless Horsemen. Headless Horsemen they've been forever and ever. They've been passed down, 1800s, Sleepy Hollow and all that. But even before that, one of my shorts I was talking about, if you remember, the people being visited by like ghostly figures or flying something. There was something about a headless person. I think it probably started 1600s, 1700s, whatever. But nonetheless, the Balmore Distillery's Headless Horseman, the brewery on the Isle of Islay. Am I saying that right? Let me know. Joe, am I saying that right? I know you speak Spanish, but maybe you know this. Is haunted by a headless horseman believed to be connected to a tale involving a farmer and his wife. No, it's the farmer and his deceased father's desire for one last drink of scotch. So he's headless and he wants a drink of scotch, but he can't have the scotch because he's headless. So he's just forever angry. Couldn't he just go and find his head? Like, you know the story, Sleepy Hollow, Johnny Depp film, and like, he finds it for him, but if you're dead, don't you know where it is? Maybe? No, yes, maybe. Even if you're dead and somebody stole it, wouldn't you be able to find it? Put it under a basket. No. It's not funny. Moon River Brewing Company hauntings. Savannah, Georgia. Have you been there? It's beautiful, but it's arguably one of the most haunted areas. Savannah's Moon River Brewing Company, originally a hotel and then a hospital. Of course, people died like crazy there. Probably had TB. Is home to multiple ghosts, including a gambler and yellow fever victims. Yellow fever. A spirit named Toby is known for physical interactions with visitors. It's amazing that they name him. Like, how do they know that that was Toby? Was there really a patient there named Toby that died? Is it someone that appeared that looks just like Toby that they have like physical proof of? Or is it somebody that they're like, oh, well, there was a noise in the room that 700 years ago Toby was in, so it must have been Toby. And it could have been any patient other than that died, maybe the 300 others, but they decided Toby is easier to say. I don't know. I just went down a rabbit hole. But like, how do they name that? Jeremy, if you're on, like, if as someone who investigates this stuff, like, why? How do they name that? But aside from this place, Savannah is crawling with activity. There is stuff going on all the time. It's nonstop. Mansfield Wineries Angry Spirit. We're talking spirits and spirits, like enjoying some spirit. That is the only time I wouldn't care if a ghostly figure is just chilling, hanging out with me, is if I'm like, you know, a few drinks in, I'm like, oh. Speaking, I have not had, I had one glass of wine in California, but before that, it was Christmas Adam was the last time I had a glass of drink. It's been almost 2 months, so you give me 2, I'd be ready to hang out with any spirit. I'll hang out with Toby. I'll hang out with this angry person, the Mansfield Winery in California, haunted by the spirit of Louis Murbach. Toby Lewis Howe, a worker turned bandit who was fired and later sought revenge. His spirit is known for causing disturbances, especially with lighting fixtures. Have you ever been in a place, let me know in the comments, like where the lights just start flickering on and off? Have you ever had like a radio turning on and off? That's very eerie. That's very odd to happen. And it's hard to explain. Now, I get like these lights that are behind me, they might have a short in the cord. But when a light switch is off and it's magically turned on, how is that possible? If the switch, which gives the light power or not, even if you went to the breaker box, like trying to debunk it, it's interesting. Anyway, let me know in the comments below. Have you ever had, beside me, above me, wherever the hell you are, you ever had a light switch go on and off? Or a radio or something like that? What's something that you've experienced? No, I mean, of course, noises, but I say that like that's no big deal. That's fine. Let me know. The haunch of venison's mini ghosts. The haunch of venison in Salisbury, England, is reportedly home to countless spirits with paranormal activities like floating knives. I watch enough crime shows that everyone uses a knife, like a 15-inch hunting blade or something that they got from the butcher's block. I mean, like, who wants a floating knife? All right, if we go in this room right here, we're going to have all these floating pointy objects. No thanks. Mysterious apparitions and even visits from Winston Churchill's ghost. Now, that would be cool. Winston Churchill has some amazing quotes. Like, he had some very profound statements, and he was liked and hated all at the same time. I don't know where I'm going with that. Sorry. So, England is very much home to not only the haunch of venisons, but the ghosts of this place are all about some weird stuff. No thanks. Has anything ever like moved on you? Have you ever seen something? Not just paper, because that's easy to say there's been a draft of the room. I mean, it's so light. Even if that weren't the case and it were something that moved it, it'd be hard to debunk that, because otherwise it's just like, oh, the air. But this thing that's solid as hell, if this thing right here just fell over, that, my friends, I'd pee and poop in this chair and the live would end. Let me know if you ever see anything move. Hopefully not knives floating at your face. Buffalo Trace. Oh, Buffalo Trace. Yeah, it's watchful ghost. Colonel Albert B. Blanton, former president of Buffalo Trace Distillery in Kentucky, is said to oversee the quality of bourbon from beyond the grave, with reports of flickering lights and spectral advice on brewing. Interesting. So, Kentucky's known for bourbon, right? So, yeah. All bourbon is whiskey, but not whiskey is not bourbon. It's interesting how that works. Tennessee makes whiskey. Jack Daniels is whiskey, bourbon whiskey in Kentucky, nonetheless. It's interesting. Buffalo Trace is just down the road from me. Kentucky has some amazing distillery tours, and I encourage you to check them out. Have you ever been on a distillery tour? Like a bourbon tour? You should. Buffalo Trace. It's good bourbon. Have you ever had it? No? Yes? Maybe? Have you? Maybe you don't drink bourbon? Maybe you don't drink. That's fine. Maybe you're underage. Don't drink underage. But how would Colonel Albert Blanton... I didn't know he was a colonel. Like, I'm a colonel. I mean, because I'm a Kentucky colonel? Does that mean he's a Kentucky colonel? Not like a colonel in the army or military? Why am I... If I were a ghost, that's all my MO would be. I would haunt the hell out of all you all, and I would just flicker lights. And I would give you all bourbon. I would give you all distilling advice, like this guy. Let me know in the comments. Have you been on the tour? I'll stop now. Did I say my singles number 12 at radio? I'm hungry, okay? It's late and I'm hungry. Chateau de Brissac's Green Lady? The tallest chateau in France is haunted by the Green Lady, believed to be Charlotte de Brise. De Brise? That has like the... Murdered by her husband for adultery. She appears as a beautiful woman until her eyeless corpse is revealed. Wow. Why are her eyes gone? I mean, these are the things that I have so many questions about. It's like you name the ghost because the ghost obviously reminds you of Toby, or you just named it because it's like you name your dog. Why are her eyes gone? Because in death, like if you do reappear as a ghost, like wouldn't all ghosts reappear or not reappear with their eyes out or not out? Does that make sense? I don't know. There's so many questions here. It's really frustrating to me. And the beautiful woman, is she beautiful? Oh. She appears as a beautiful woman, but her eyeless corpse is revealed. So is she pretty? Oh, so they're saying that she shows up like she's just like me right now on your phone or whatever you're watching me on. What are you watching me on? Like the TV? It's like 1% watch on TV, which it's like, let's go watch Nathan live. I'm not mocking him, sorry. But she started as a pretty lady and then it like transforms like those nasty, scary movies where that's awful. I don't watch them, but the previews. Kilbeggan Distillery's Restless Spirits. Kilbeggan. Kilbeggan? Come again? I should know this. I'm Irish. Kiss me, I'm Irish. Irons. Ireland's oldest whiskey distillery is not just known for its spirits, but also for its spirits. This is full circle, everybody. Spirits and spirits. It is. The ghost of its founder, Matthias McManus, if that is not the most Irish name. Matthias McManus. His rebellious son, John, and a black-robed monk are said to haunt the premises. I just don't know that I would be scared. If it's a monk, like if he's a holy monk, I really want to get to the root of the eyes thing again. Like, how can you appear pretty, and then all of a sudden you show us your eyeless eye sockets? And why aren't all ghosts eyeless? Why is she? I mean, maybe he stabbed her eyes out, but even then, wouldn't she have her eyes back? I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. This has just gotten weird and deep and thick. We're in the thick of it, guys. Well, we are working on shows for April. I will say they are northeast starting. Been rehearsing. Continue to rehearse. Continue to do the vocal stuff. There's vocal exercises and they're like, you have head voice. Head voice is up here. And then you get in the nasal here. I mean, sorry, that was chest voice. I'm going backwards. Chest voice is here. Nasal voice. Anyway, they're vocal exercises that you do. I do 15 minutes a day and really getting my chops back. It helps because if I'm going to be performing 45 minutes to 60 minutes, then I'm going to have to really get my stuff in order and in gear because on top of that, you're walking around and jumping around like anybody can stand at a mic and sing. When I say that, I'm saying it takes less energy to stand at a mic. It exerts a lot of energy to move around and jump around and interact and sweat and all of those things. And so doing that every day, going on walks every day, just keeping my head right. And I don't know if you've read the book yet. I'm going to tell you again because it's super important to read it. There's a book called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. You got to read it. Have you read it? Let me know. There's another book called The Art of Holding Space by Heather Platt. Have you read it? Let me know. They're such good books. They offer so much insight. Like The Art of Holding Space is so cool. It's like, you know, we need to be mindful of what we deserve and what we need versus what we can give. So there's that give and take aspect. But there's some people that we love more than anything, and maybe they're in a place where they can't give you what would be ideal, perhaps, because it's like it's not balanced. Meaning, I give so much and you just take. Maybe they're in this place where they're not able to give as much, and so you have to do what's called the art of holding space, where you're able to say, "I meet you where you are," and I'll love you from afar if they bring too much stress in your life, you know. But then maybe when time permits, there's a ability to maybe come together again, and then it's an ebb and flow, right? And I love that book. It's so freaking good. And then there's another book called The Body Keeps Score, I believe is what it's called. It's for those of you who've experienced physical, sexual abuse, emotional abuse of any kind. It's how our body has developed over the years, or even generations. Like, it is proven that those who have survived the Holocaust, their grandchildren and great-grandchildren experience anxieties that are measured similar to, if not equal to, the same as if they were in a concentration camp. Think about that. So there's generational anxieties that are past. And anyway, it's a great book. And all that to say, as someone who's a big proponent of mental health awareness, therapy is critical. There's BetterHelp. There's, anyway, I encourage you to get, to check out those books, get those books, whether audible or you read them, or, let me know when you read them, because there's a lot of beautiful stuff to take away from that, and to know that you're valued. And I'm grateful for, when the sun sets on this side, this life, and when the curtain closes, the music matters to me because I want to leave a mark. I want you to know that you're valued and important and worthy, but I show up because I want you to know that, right? So the music can go away, but I'm here because I appreciate you, and I use those tools as an opportunity to connect. And I think you have to know that you have that ability too. It's important that you know that you're worth it, and that you too have something powerful enough to connect with other people, because we need each other. The community that we create, or that we're a part of, it's only as good as it is when we show up. So, what's one thing you're happy about, grateful for? Let me know in the comments. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this time. I'm grateful that my brother and his wife, my sister-in-law, are going to hang out with me tonight. Yeah. And I'm grateful that you met me here, and I appreciate it so much. Be sure to subscribe, click the bell to be notified, share this with somebody, this live or a previous video perhaps. And until next time, until tomorrow, right? Tomorrow. And tomorrow we'll do the Q&A. Okay, I promise. We'll do the Q&A. We've been collecting all those. And anyway, yeah. I look forward to reviewing because I can't see anything. Thanks for being here. It means so very much to me. I still want to know why Elizabeth doesn't have eyes. What the hell, Elizabeth?